Hey there, John from B2Web. This is going to be an overview video of the Builder theme. It's quite a cool theme, quite an achievement, and you'll see why. It's really one of those themes that you can design an entire website from scratch using WordPress, and I liken this to be a WordPress theme builder. So what I have right now is I only have the Builder theme installed. Builder theme operates on a parent-child framework, so they have child themes that will add a lot more style and design than what you see here. So this is it. Here's the cool thing about Builder. These widget sections all the way down are totally customizable for any page or post. Same with menus. Basically, this is like a blank canvas, and you can create different layouts for different pages and posts. You're not stuck to, a content sidebar content type layout. Essentially, you can create any type of layout you like, and as many of them as you like. So when you start out, you go to install Builder in the usual format. I have a child theme here. I'm not going to activate that quite yet. I'll show you that later on. When you install your theme, you're going to have this menu right here, My Theme, and this is where you basically do all your Builder work. So we'll go to the start here, and just so you know, this is pretty cool of iThemes. I like how they have a bunch of tutorials built in right into the dashboard. You can access those and learn a lot on how to use this theme. Then we want to go to our settings menu, and you can set out your settings. Basically, this is where you do it. You have some control over your header menus here with what gets displayed there. I would recommend controlling this. This was set up before custom menus was created by WordPress, so I would recommend that you use the custom menus option with WordPress for controlling all of your navigation and menus. And the only reason I do that is centralized. It's much easier to use, and this video is not going to go through how to use custom menus, but that's my recommendation for this theme. What I really want to show you, we'll go back to settings just to give you a bird's eye view of your options. This is where you put in tracking codes, and you can install a free Builder SEO plugin, which gives you your SEO meta SEO fields for site-wide and specific pages and posts. I would probably go with the all-in-one SEO plugin with this theme instead. I don't really like the SEO panel that Builder provides, so I would go with the all-in-one SEO. It's just my view, but it works. I mean, it works as it should. It's just doesn't have as nice of a user interface. So that's settings. And we're going to go to the layouts. This is the true power of the Builder theme. And when you install it, you're going to have some default layouts here. And you have a 780. The number refers to the width by pixel of that particular page. So right now we have selected the 960 wide home page there. Well, let's create a new layout. This is where you're going to really see the power of this theme. If you're one who wants to create and design your own WordPress website from scratch. So here we go. You just name your layout. You can do tons of layouts. You're not stuck with just a few. So let's go 960 wide. We won't add an extension. Hide widget areas. The reason it asks you this is you're going to see, we'll get to the widget panel, but when you create a new layout, you're creating a whole new set of widget zones for that particular layout. So if you have 10 layouts, you're going to have 10 sets of widgets for each widget zone you use in a particular layout. And when we get to the widget zone, you'll see it gets a bit messy, and that's my only dislike of this theme, but I don't think there's a way around it. If you want custom layouts using widget zones, the more layouts you create, the more widget zones in your widget panel you have. But at least you have the option to hide them if you have layouts you don't use, and then you can just hide them and clean up your widget panel. So, but we want to keep these widget zones or areas available in the widget panel. Setting, there is a style plugin that's also free that you add. I added it right here on the left. We'll get to that after we create a layout, but you can totally dictate the style of your website. So there we go, and now we build it right here. It's called add a module. So you have different modules. You have a content module, which is where the usual visual editor that you use. You can add a footer module, an HTML module, and this is cool because if you have a cool design that's in HTML that you want, or some HTML code you want to add to your page, you just click this and you add that module. And here you go, you input your HTML code in this big box. You can indicate sidebars if you like. You can pretty much choose a number of layouts there. You can enable PHP or not, and remove wrapper divs if you want, and then you would save it. Another module we could add is an image module. So if you have a header, and now let me as we build this, the top part is the top of the page, so it's like you're constructing your page down. So in all likelihood, you would either start with a navigation, which would be a top menu at the top of your website, or an image. And when you add an image, you upload your image, so it would be your header. You specify the height. You can include a link URL if you want, such as to the home page, and indicate any sidebars you want for that header, and then you save it. So let's see what happens. We didn't put an image. I'm not going to add an image, so we're not going to do that. And another module that we could add would be navigation. So let's add that. So we've got our custom menus right here. So this is cool. This is what I'm talking about. Controlling your menus with your custom menus rather than the builder settings. I think this is a much better. So we'll pick our top nav and we'll click save. So we have our first module there. So there's our first module. You can just put your cursor over it and you can modify it or remove it. Let's add another module. We'll add a widget bar. This is where it's really cool because now we've got widget bars, and you can include the number of widgets. So if you select 3, it'll be a third, a third, a third, or you can specify like 60, 20, whatever, or you can even customize the width of your widgets like that. So we want to, let's just go, let's say we want to put in a slideshow or something cool like that. We could go a full width widget, so it'd be one full width empty widget zone right underneath our menu at the top of the website. We'll do that. So we now have a widget bar, so a navigation widget, and then we want to have some content, so we want to write our article there, so we'll just add the content there. We can indicate the number of sidebars if we want. We'll go with one right. I usually like to make them a little wider, 200, especially with a 960 wide website. Might even go wider than that. And we'll add another widget. Let's throw in another widget bar there. This time we can go a third, 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 and we can throw some images in there, and that would look cool. And then we'll round it out with a footer. It's already selected. Done. We don't want a sidebar with our footer. So we have our layout. Starts with the navigation menu, our widget bar where it's full width, we can put in a cool image or a slideshow in there, our content with the right sidebar, and our widget bar, and our footer. And don't forget to save it. So we've called this, we'll call it test 1, and we'll save it. So we have our we have a default layout of 960 home, but we could make our test the default by setting as default. Now these other ones, let's say we're going to use that 960 home that's already prefigured, pre-configured out already, so we don't want to change that. But let's say we want to hide those widget areas for those other ones. We just click hide widget areas, hide widget areas, and hide widget areas. And why would I want to do that? Well, take a look at this widget panel. It gets crazy with all of these widget zones because it has them for all of those layouts, and if we're not going to use all of those layouts, we don't want them. So there's our test. Those are the widget zones we created. That's a whole layout right there. But we have all these other ones we want to get rid of, so let's just hide those widget zones. We'll keep that home because we'll use that maybe for the home page, and hide widget zones. And don't forget to, okay, that should automatically save. So how do you select a particular layout for a particular post? When you're in your post, it looks just like the usual post, add post page, custom layout. You select it right here. So we could select our test, or we could select that 96 home, but we'll go with test. You can select sidebars. If you have any custom sidebars, you can add that. And then we have all the usual features. So really the only different feature we get here with Builder is selecting a layout, but that's all important because that's where our content's going to show up. So we've created a post, we've selected our test layout. We'll publish that. Take a look and see what that looks like, so you get a sense of what we created. So we have our nav at the top, we have a wide widget section, we have our content right here, we have a widget section sidebar right there, and we have our bottom widget section where we could put whatever we want, and then we have a footer at the bottom. So how do we put something in our widget zones? Well, that goes to our widget panel, and you'll see it's a lot cleaned up now. You see we just have the 96 home and the test because we hid those other ones that we're not using. So here is what you're going to have to learn is you're going to have to become familiar with the terminology to know which widgets are doing what. So now keep in mind, if you use this layout on a lot of pages, the content you put in, let's say your test 1 widget bar 2 and 1 here, that's going to show up on every one of those pages and posts. It's the same with all of these. Now this is widget bar 2.1, so it's a full width, 1 meaning it's the full width. So we could put text in there, and then we could slam an image in there. And then we have our content right sidebar here because we did indicate we wanted a right sidebar. We throw in whatever content we want in the sidebar. And then we have the 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. This is that widget that we had the 3 sections split evenly. So on the bottom left there, we could put in whatever we wanted in the middle, and so forth. So that's how you do it. It takes a little bit just getting used to these terminology here. And you can imagine how cool it would be if you can create different types of pages and layouts for different sections of your website. So some websites that used to require pretty advanced coding you could create, or that are done in HTML, but you like WordPress, as do I, because adding content is so easy. You could put a really cool slideshow here, and this is not even your home page. And you can create another layout with a different widget section, and also put a different slideshow in there, so you can customize like your top images for any particular page or post. Just keep in mind, the more layouts you create and use, the messier this gets, but at the end of the day it'll just keep strolling down all the way down here, so you're not going to run out of space. You're not limited, but it does get a little bit more complex. So that's the layout. Now let's take a quick look at our style manager. Our style's pretty basic right now. It's looking like a bare bones website. We can do one of two things. We can I uploaded the Builder Style plugin, so I get this basically drag and drop we'll make this the global style, which global means it's by default will go to all the layouts we want unless we specify otherwise. This is drag and drop menus for basically setting out the styles, colors, fonts, how our hyperlinks appear, operate, a whole 9 yards using drag and drop menus. So we go to site background, we could specify that. We can specify our font on our site, links, headings, container. As you can see, basically you can set out your styles. This is being able to style your website without having to know CSS style sheets. This is great if you're new to WordPress. It's truly drag and drop. It's really cool. Now if we go into a post, you're going to wonder, well, how do I select a particular style? Well, you don't here. What you do is you attach a style to a layout. So we'll go to our layouts. Here we go. Remember that? You select your style. So a style that you create in the Style Manager gets applied to a particular layout. So you can have different styles for different layouts, and then you can make pages that look totally different. And that's always the issue with WordPress, right? Every page and post looks a lot alike. You got usually the same sidebar, the same layout, the same header. Remember, you can create different headers for every page of your website if you like. So the flexibility that you have here is just unbelievable. The downside with all of this is even as easy it is to use, it does take a long time to actually design your website, especially if you're going to have a lot of different styles. You're going to spend a lot of time tweaking your styles and all of your color choices and all the rest of it. And it is going to take longer than if you just use a pre-designed theme, add it in there, and then just go with the pre-designed theme. So if you're into creating your own website from the ground up with WordPress, and I love WordPress, then Builder is definitely a good option for you. And I'll wrap this overview of Builder up with when we add in a child theme. You'll see what happens. We have this. Remember, add Builder first, install it Builder first, and then you'll get access to a bunch of child themes created by iThemes. And right, so that's activated. Let's see how that looks. Totally changed it. You notice how we get a lot of the same layout flexibility here, but we actually have some design here. Now you could go through and you could change the size of these titles. It's a little big for my liking. You can change your menu size and so forth and clean this up, but essentially you get a built-in style by using a child theme. That's the overview of Builder. As you can see, there is a lot of flexibility with this, and if you're into designing your own WordPress theme and want different pages and posts to look differently and have different layouts, consider Builder. It's a theme that I like quite a bit.